Okay, so I mentioned I've got some miles on the car. I've driven it. I really like some things. Some things could be better, and I want to make some of those better. We'll talk about bump steer for a minute. Last episode, I said I was going to take care of this bump steer problem, and we'll talk a little bit about that. How does it get here, and how do we get rid of it? Bump steer is really engineered into the front suspension and needs to be mechanically removed. It's not just an adjustment, or it's not just the way things are set up, but it's kind of some hard parts. There are some bumps here. What that means is when you hit a bump and the front tire travels up and down, it's moving the adjustment of the tire, pointing it right to left and so on, and rotating the steering wheel. It's an uncomfortable feeling. This is even a little bit worse in a car like this because the wheelbase is shorter. It's a little twitchy the faster you go. Okay, so let's take a look at my drawing here. This will get to the idea. If you want to find some stuff on YouTube, I've seen some videos that explain it much better than this and are very informative. And in my opinion, those guys are right on the money. I really haven't seen any bad information about bump steer, how it got there, how to get rid of it, and how to adjust it. So lots of stuff there. But here's my explanation of it. So here's your upper control arm. Here's a lower control arm. Here's a steering rack, and here's a tie rod. These two, we need these to be parallel, and the closer they are in length, the better, right? But when I got this from Hurricane, this was going uphill in comparison to this one. So the radius of them were changing at different rates. So this effectively was getting shorter or longer. I didn't really figure that all the way out. As this was traveling up and down, and this was traveling on a different arc than this, so it was moving the toe adjustment of the tire. That makes sense? We want to get rid of that. So what I'll show you is a kit I got from Bear, and it gave me a way to adjust the height of that so I could get these at the right angle. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so here's this bump steer kit from Bear. You can see it here. 326-1004 is the number. That's the one I'm using. They make a bunch of different ones. This works on the Mustang 2 spindle that I've got. So here's how this works. This is going to replace the end of the tie rod as it comes out of the steering rack. We're going to look at that under the car in a minute. But the lower control arm is at this angle. We want these to be parallel so that when they swing, this isn't changing length, changing the toe. Right now, this is at a different angle than the lower control arm. So when they swing, there are slightly different arcs. I'm doing that completely wrong, but you get the idea where these swing on different arcs. This is going to pull in relationship to where the spindle mounts, rocking the spindle back and forth and changing the toe bump steer. So these spacers that they give you, there's different ones. And so depending on which one we put in there, when this bolts into the spindle, is going to be how much this adjusts in relationship to that lower control arm. Let's take a look under the car. Okay, so here we've got the lower control arm, give you reference on there. I've got the jack stand sitting here. This isn't exactly at right height, but it's pretty close. When I did the alignment with the jack stand here out towards the end of the A-arm, the measurements here and on the floor were pretty close. So we're gonna really looking for this relationship between those two anyway. So 87 degrees out of 90, that would put this, it's going uphill 3 degrees, okay? So now when we put the angle finder on here, we've got 85.5. So was it 3 degrees? So it's almost at 6. So we're gonna say it's 2.5 degrees different. So I'm gonna add some space, basically between here and here, to drop this down. Then we want to see if we can get these at matching angles. So this is what it looks like in there. So these spacers, you can put different ones in here. Came with those, came with these. And then you've got to put something else underneath here, or you'll run out of thread room, as you can see. But what I've got now is I've got the angle at 94.4 there, with those spacers in there, and this bumped all the way up. Hey, look at that. I'm gonna match the other side to that. We're gonna set the toe, and then we're gonna go drive this over some bumps. What I wanted to do here was just take the car out, get some miles on it, see how it feels with that bump steer kit in. So you're going to notice the steering wheel's off a little bit to the right. That's of course something we can adjust out with the tie rod ends pretty easily, but this is just doing a general check over on it. So when I would hit a manhole cover before, it would rotate the steering wheel back and forth, clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on how things impacted. And after putting this kit in, we don't have that anymore. It's really smooth as far as that goes. It still rides like a short wheelbase, very aggressive suspension, hot rod race car kind of situation. But boy, it drives like a different car. Really happy with it. Hooray, no bump steer.
Don't bother Luke.
Why is there a circle with a line through it?
That means don't. Haven't you seen Ghostbusters, Pam?
Yeah, but it's like you're saying we should bother Luke.
No, Yes, okay, right. All right. Yep, my bad. I got it. Here we go.
Don't bother Luke. Got it.
On this episode of Pete Snakebite Kit, we busted bump steer. That's a good thing. This thing is more predictable, it's safer to drive, it's more fun to drive. If your project car, be it a Cobra or anything else, has got bump steer, you can fix it. There's tons of help online about it. This is not rocket surgery. I figured this stuff out. If I can, you can, and it'll make your car more fun. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm enjoying these more all the time because I'm driving my Cobra. Thanks for watching.